Will unclean spirits ever be able to embody artificial intelligence? The answer is first and foremost no, and then there is a potential yes. Now, the answer to no is the reason because unclean spirits are spiritual beings. They can't, as far as we know, unclean spirits don't go into trees. They don't dwell in grass or leaves or whatever it may be. Now we do know that Christ sent the unclean spirits to go reside in the pigs after he cast out the legion of demons out of the man who had so many unclean spirits within him. Christ in one word said, "Go." And those unclean spirits fled into the pigs and then ended up drowning themselves. Now, animals are not spiritual in the sense of being made in the image of God, but we do know animals have souls. And what are souls? Souls are our hidden identity. It's what differentiates us from other things. But the soul also is able to, it's our will. So we know that animals will to do something. When they get hungry, they will to go find food. God isn't just, pulling all the strings, so to speak, and just guiding them to go do this or that. We know that it also says in the Gospels that God feeds the birds of the air. It doesn't say that God controls the birds to go find the food. It says that God gives them food. He takes care of the birds of the air. And then how much more will he take care of us? So animals do have souls, and that is why the unclean spirits could go dwell in the pigs. But artificial intelligence will never have a soul, first and foremost. It's not something spiritual. It's made up of mechanics. It has pre-programmed intelligence. It can only think as far as has been created. And it functions only based upon that which it has been programmed to do. A toaster does nothing more than toast. We have robots now who can hold conversations, but those conversations are due to the integrations of what it has been programmed to do. Robots can't feel emotions. Emotions pertain to spiritual beings. And again, we know that animals also are spiritual beings, again, not made in the image of God, but they have a soul. And our soul is also able to have emotional responses. That's why when we come home and I miss my dog, I had to put him down almost exactly a year ago. I miss him dearly. But Buddy, when I'd come home, he would just be wagging his tail. He'd be licking me and be so excited that I came back because he has that emotion. He loved me unconditionally as all dogs do. And dogs are just incredible. They portray the Father's love in such a beautiful way. But all that to say, machines are not spiritual beings, so therefore unclean spirits cannot dwell in them. Now, there has been talk and certain things, and how much of it is true, I don't know, but it doesn't surprise me if it is the case. We need to understand that there is a differentiation between the brain and the mind. The mind is associated with our spiritual component. Animals don't have a mind. They're not thinking about mathematical equations. They're not thinking about morality. They're not thinking about difficult conceptual things. All animals are able to do is they, of course, do have a memory that is able to remember certain things due to encounters in the past, but they don't have a mind that is able to think on the future and prepare for the future and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to take a break in the future at this time so I can rest more so I don't have to find food. Animals don't do that. Humans have a mind. Now, obviously, we still have a brain. The brain is more of the mechanism and the instrument by which the mind works through. If someone is incapacitated and they're in a coma, for example, they are unable to be able to, they're unable to be able to have their mind work through the brain and respond with what needs to be done. Now, there's certain talk that the brain is able to be correlated with a certain artificial intelligence, that they are able to actually, through certain electrodes, be able to bring back certain memories that are dwelling within the brain, which doesn't necessarily at all make sense because if our memories are tied to our brain's neurological pathways, I guess it does make some sense. Neuroscience has shown that to a degree, but the conceptual revealment and visualizations of that is not on a neurological standpoint of neurological strands, each and every strand. That's where the memories have been formed, but the actual visualization of that obviously has not or cannot be visualized. But at the same time, artificial intelligence can operate based upon what the brain has formed in different manifestations. So if the brain is there, then could unclean spirits operate based upon what the brain has been brought into? Maybe, because that is a little bit of a part of a human aspect, but at the same time there isn't a spiritual component alongside that. So ultimately, can unclean spirits, are they able to potentially embody artificial intelligence? As far as we know, no. But if along the line there becomes more like the possibility to where through science people can form machines and then incorporate certain bodies with certain people, like maybe we see this when someone loses a limb, they're able to get a mechanic arm. If there's some sort of a Terminator field type aspect, then potentially that unclean spirit might be able to embody the unclean spirit might be able to embody that person, because that person is still a lively spiritual being. So can unclean spirits embody artificial intelligence? The answer to that is no, first and foremost, but maybe later on down the road, if machines are able to combine with the spiritual components of humans that are still alive.